Okay, so today we'll be starting with how to sketch using completing the square. So you already have this question. So I want you to attempt this first one. Do you remember completing the square? If you do not remember completing the square, raise your hand. Anyone raising their hand? I can't see all the videos yet. Okay, I'm not logging. Okay, Leo, all right. So Leo, do you want to go through with the example and see if you can do it? I'll give you everybody just 2 minutes. I'll leave the example on the screen. Just question 1. Leo, can you do that?
This is finding the vertex, right?
No, just follow the instruction. It says write this code in this form, then sketch.
Okay.
Just follow the exact instruction. And the same instruction is here. So the example is the same as the activity.
Okay.
Let's do that. 2 minutes, everybody. Or maximum 5. Let's write today's date in Chinese. So I don't know the characters that much yet, all right? What is 0? I know this is 2. What's the character for 0? Does anyone want to show me?
For dates, you just do a circle.
This actually, I could just, okay, that's complicated for 0.
You can just do a circle for dates.
That's too complicated for 0. I'll pass. For now, I'll pass. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with R, then I know this is Lin. Did I get it right? Again, that is 2020. Then I put a year. Then month will follow. Is the 3rd month. And that would be your, if I get it right. Then the day will follow. If today is 30, let's see, Lillian, you're waiting for me to get it right or wrong, whatever. So 30 will be Sam again. That's 3 times 10. Today is Monday, so that will be Sin. No, I missed something. How should be here. And the sign is on A. How am I doing so far? Did I get it right? Wait, someone is saying, come on, turn on your mic. Give me some solid. Wait, what is this, Lillian? That's 2. I thought that was your. Okay.
The line on the top has to be shorter than the bottom.
Oh, well, we'll take care of that later.
Yours looks like an equal sign.
Well, it looks like equal sign to me. So it's meant to be like that? Something like this?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. You guys should have started teaching me Chinese a long time ago. Okay. So, but other than that, Nian, I don't know. I don't know if Nian is this one or this one. The first one or the second one? I think it's this. Did I get it right? No. Is it correct? Are you sure? Okay, I have my. Have you guys seen my notebook? Nakita isn't the only one that is OCD. I'm not scaring only, so I'm going to show you my notebook. Someone is learning Chinese. So beautiful, huh? Please don't come and steal my notebook. I know it's so beautiful. Anyways, it would be nice to actually speak some Chinese. I can't wait to actually speak a few words to you guys. I so look forward to that day. I want to go home and show up like, yeah, I speak Chinese now. All right. Okay. To avoid confusion, we're going to write this also in the language that everybody understands. So, well, I'll leave this on the board. So it's Monday. So this is equal to, or implies that Monday, 30th March, 2020. I'm good. All right, let's get serious now. Back to math. So we wish to sketch the graph by completing the square. So that's the whole idea today. And you've done your starter activity already. So we're just going to do like a correction of the first one. Then I will remind us of when A is not equal to 0, and that's it. So, but before then, maybe we could look at this in general, okay? So let's begin with completing, to write ax squared in form of, if we have a general quadratic, okay, let's write it in the form of something like that. Okay, so let's see. So given y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, given that quadratic function, y, the first thing we do is to factorize a, definitely. As a matter of fact, maybe we don't need to consider the c part. It doesn't matter. We can do it either way. I don't know if anyone gets what I'm trying to say. I could separate the c and just take care of the problem inside. Something like this, yeah. Maybe we could do this. Do you know which one would you normally do? Would you factorize all the c out, or would you just take the first two?
I would do the first two.
The first two only?
Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Chen?
Wait, could you ask that again? What would I do?
So there are, if you have like 2x squared minus 5x plus 7, do you just consider this factorization, or will you take 2 out of everything and multiply again?
I usually just take it out of the first two terms.
So, okay, is that what everybody would normally do? I just ask people at random. Okay, so let's just focus on that, because there are two ways. We can factorize out of everything, then multiply back again. Or we could just consider the first two alone. Do you understand what I mean?
Is there an advantage to factorizing everything?
It's just to avoid confusion, because when you add and subtract the sum of squares, you would have done all your computation within the bracket, so you just open the bracket once. Do you understand? Maybe I could quickly, if time permits, do both side by side and see what I mean. Anyway, let's quickly go through with this. So when you have this from your previous knowledge, I'm assuming we have a previous knowledge, but again, I'm reteaching it, is to complete the square by adding the half squared of this and subtracting it immediately. So this is a x squared b over ax. So we're going to add and subtract the sum of the squares plus b over 2a minus b over 2a. Now, this is in the brackets. So this 3 automatically is a square. So that will be a, so that would be a x plus b over 2a whole squared minus b over 4a squared. Now everything is still within the bracket. So when the bracket is opened, this is a times x plus b over 2a whole squared minus b divided by 4a and plus c. Does everybody get this? Everybody understood? Leo? Okay. So this is going to, so we're going to combine this together. So what I recommend is if one of them is positive, you want to bring it first. X plus b over 2a whole squared. So that's like c minus b over 4a. Okay, so I put the plus c first, so my subtraction is not leading to any form of confusion. So eventually I get 4ac minus b, then this is 4a. All right, am I missing anything out? Is it okay, everyone? All right, so we have done earlier in your previous classes. So what we could have done differently based on what Ethan has asked is if you have everything in a bracket, this, which means our completing the square would be in the bracket. We have our b over 2a squared minus b over 2a squared, then plus c over a, everything in one bracket. So after doing this and combining this, then you open again with a, you still end up getting this. So it's the same thing basically. It's just that this was after we opened the bracket, we added this together. The addition would have been done, then the multiplication comes first. Does that make sense? No, multiplication comes last. Okay, so let's just stick to this because that's on the average what everybody would normally do. So I don't want to change the pattern. So we have noticed that upon completing this, we notice that when this bracket is equal to 0, then we have our minimum. So then if a is greater than 0, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Sorry. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c is minimum if a is greater than 0, maximum if a is less than 0. 2. That's minimum value. Sorry, x. When this bracket is 0, this one, the value of this tells you the value at that turning point. At the turning point, which is the vertex, that's brackets x plus b over 2a is equal to 0, which means x is equal to negative b over a. And this is the equation of the line of symmetry. At the vertex, y is equal to 4ac minus b, this. Because that's when x is equal to that. That's when x is equal to negative b over 2a. Y would be this, because when x is negative b over 2a, this little bracket is 0, so y is just this left. Okay. 4ac minus b divided by 4a, which is the minimum or maximum value, depending on the value of a. So this is just a summary of what we have done before, just to remind us. Please tell me if I can move to the next. Mr. Chen, may I? Mr. K, is he writing? I just wish to know if I need to give you 1 or 2 minutes to write, or I can move on. Can Krista say something?
It's okay, I screenshot.
I just want to know. So this is
Daniel.
Yes, sir.
On the last line, should it be, or for number 3, should it be 4ac minus b squared over 4a?
B squared. Oh, did I miss something? Oh my God, yes, B squared, thank you, sir. It should have been B squared from here. This is 4A squared. Oh no, how did I miss that? I'm so sorry. I knew something wasn't looking right. So opening this, it's from here. Remember, these 3 combined, right? So this last one is going to be B squared 4A squared. Come on, you guys are looking at me making this blunder. B squared over 4A squared plus C. So C minus B squared over 4A squared.
Wait, isn't it AB squared then?
This should be, hold on just a minute. This should be 4A now, because when you open the bracket, there's no square power. Just a minute. What do you mean AB squared?
Because the A that we factorized out. Like we have to multiply the A back in.
If we multiply the A back in, it affects this.
Oh, you took it away. Oh yeah.
So
Because just now there was still the.
yeah, and I'm going to write it in form of discriminants. So I'm not going to swap the way it is. So basically, I'm going to do this. Sorry if I mess up your notebook, I apologize. So I'm going to write it like this. So if I take this minus, it's going to be B squared over 4A minus C. Agree? So it's going to be minus, then the combination of this is 4ac divided by 4a, like that. Okay? Understood? Sorry I messed up your notebook. I know some of you are OCD. You don't like your notebook messing up. Like Nakita, for example. She's probably going to repaint a notebook. So at the vertex, y equals that. So that would be either the minimum or the maximum. Thank you, Mr. Chang. And this is our discriminant. Shall we? Are you ready? Are we all ready, please? Okay, let's move on. So let's take one question with a equals 1 because the case of a equals 1 is easier. That's the one you have made an attempt to do. Then we take a case where a is not 1. It could be positive, it could be negative. I'll send you the screenshot of those pictures as well. So for the case of a equals 1, so let's take the same question 1 that you have done. I'm taking this from page 366 of our textbook. And it's exercise 14B2, 4.2. So question 1A. The question says, write the quadratic in the form of, so I'm just going to say, this is the form, y equals, I'll write that somewhere. Okay, let's make that the heading. I won't write all the questions, I just want to take note of the important parts. Write in the form of y equals x minus h all squared plus k using the completing square. So that's all I'm going to write. The first question, y equals x squared minus 2x plus 3. So the first thing is make sure your first term, Leo, I need you to pay attention, okay, especially. Make sure this is 1 before you begin anything. So luckily, in this exercise format, in this set of questions, that's a is equal to 1. So you don't have an issue. I left one page. So you don't have an issue with this. You don't need to do this. That's the reason we did this. Can you see this, Leo? That's the reason we did this, because a is not assumed to be 1. So this is what we do when a is not 1. But in our case, our a is 1. So we don't have to do anything to that. So we move on by isolating these two and just pushing these 3 away. X squared minus 2x Then I have my plus 3 on the side. In between, I do half of this. What is half of the coefficient? The coefficient is -2. Okay, half of it is -1. So I'm going to add it, and I'm going to subtract it again. Okay, so I use different color for my addition and subtraction. I'm adding and I'm subtracting. Can you see? How do I get my -1 squared? From half of this. Okay, so please be careful with some of this minus, minus, plus, plus. Now, you have to be very careful. So by
You forgot the square.
That's true. Thank you. That shows us paying attention. Good. All right. So with this, the first 3 is a square. Why do we say that? If you do x plus 3 squared, it's not going to give you x squared plus 9. Or maybe I change this to minus. It's not going to give you x squared plus 9. It's not going to be x squared minus 9. No. Rather, it's going to be x minus 3 times x minus 3, right? And that's going to be x squared minus 3x minus 3x. Then minus 3 times minus 3 is minus 3 squared. Okay? So basically, it's x squared minus 6x, and we are adding minus 3 squared. So this is what this is about, this one. So we notice that this last part is actually half of this all squared. That's the point. Okay, so to make this a perfect square, we need to add this. But then we don't want to change the question. If the question was x squared plus 9, you don't want to change it by adding 3 to suit your own need. So if you have 3, you have to remove 3, so that at least you have your aim, and this is waiting to neutralize whatever you have added. Okay, so that's the purpose of adding and subtracting. It's because we don't want to change what we have. It's not meant to be there. You're not meant to change the question, but you need to add something to achieve your aim. So whatever you add, you subtract it immediately. You make sure you have, it's like having an antidote for something. Okay, so this first one gives x minus 1 squared. Okay, so it's usually x, and if this is positive, you have positive. If this is negative in the bracket, you have negative. So this is the first 3, this one, the 1, okay? Then the rest will follow. I have minus. This minus and minus cannot multiply. This minus this. Okay, and minus 1 squared is plus 1. Then also you have your plus 3. Does it make sense? So we need to be very careful when we write this stuff. So you're going to have x minus 1 squared then plus 2. You have just put it in this form. Okay, and the next question says, after we put it in the form, sketch the function. This only tells you at the turning point x is 1 and the minimum value is minus 2. It doesn't say anything about the intercept. Okay, so we need to find the y-intercept, which is when x is equal to 0. So you find the y-intercept because we need that in the sketch. So I'm going to say when x is equal to 0, y, I could use it here or I could use it here. Y is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 3 will be 0, 2 times 0 plus 3, and that is 3. Agreed? Alternatively, when x is equal to 0, y, which is this, is 0 minus 1 squared. I'm using this form now because they are the same. This and this are the same, right? So squared plus 2, this is 0 minus 1, which is minus 1 squared plus 2. Minus 1 squared is 1 plus 2, you still get 3 again. Okay, so the y-intercept is x is 0, y is 3. So y-intercept is 3, or you can say 0, 3. Okay, so with this, we can sketch. Now, let me reduce this, okay. All right. What can we say also from, actually that should have come first, before the intercept. After expressing in this form, what does this mean? From here, I don't want to write in little space, but it should be close to this. So from here, it means that we put x minus 1 is equal to 0, then x is equal to 1 is the axis of symmetry. Okay, so that line that cuts the graph into 2 equal parts is x is equal to 1. And we get that by equating this to be 0, the bracket. Does that make sense? And final thing that we need to figure out from here is based on this. After you figure out your x, from here, this is the value of y at the vertex. Okay, so in this case, the value of y at the vertex is 2. Okay, at the vertex, y is equal to 2. So the coordinate of the vertex is x is 1, y is 2. That's the minimum point. Okay. Now, how do I know it's minimum? Remember, a here is 1. So 1 is greater than 0. That's a minimum. Okay, so somebody did something last time, and that's the technique I'm going to use. I sketch the graph first, and I insert the line to suit it. Doesn't look perfect, but let's just make use of that. Here, we are not concerned about the x and y, x-intercept. We don't want to know where it crosses the x-axis. Nobody cares about that. Okay. So what we are concerned about is the vertex here. So this vertex is when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. So this is 1, 2. I just write it here. So equation of the vertex is, it should have been a broken line, but I don't have broken line here. So I'm going to use a normal line. Okay, so I can write the equation here. The equation is x is equal to 1. Remember, y is equal to 2, which means it doesn't cross my x-axis. So it means it doesn't cross my x-axis. Because if the minimum point is y is equal to 2, then it doesn't touch it. Do you agree? Now, where does it touch the y-axis when y is equal to 3? Can you see this? That's when y is equal to 3. So when y is equal to 3 is where it touches. Now, this is 1. When y is equal to 3 will be here. No. When x is equal to 0, x is equal to 0 is here. Do you agree? Talk to me, guys. Okay, so your y-axis will be here. Something like that. The y-axis will be here. So if I label my, okay. So I can use the double arrow for my axis. So to differentiate between the axis and the line. Because this is 1, and I need when x is equal to 0. This line is when x is equal to 0. Okay, so it has to be behind the line. So that's it. So just label. This is x-axis. This is y-axis. And this point is here, 3. This is all you need. We don't need any intercept, just these 2 points for this set of questions. And that's all. Okay? Talk to me, please. Okay? All right. So let's see. What if we have, can everybody please do, oh, we don't have time. Okay, how about I do the other part? The other part is when you have a that is not minus 1, that is not 1. And it could be a fraction, it could be a negative, it could be a positive. So I'll show you questions like this. Can everybody see this? Questions like this. So for each of the following, write the quadratic in that form, state the vertex. So it's a guided question. Put it in that form, state the coordinate of the vertex, find the y-intercept and sketch. This is exactly what we have done in the first one. The only difference is now we have a not equal to 1. So a could be greater than 1, which means we have to factorize. A could be negative, a could be a fraction. It doesn't matter. So can we choose one question here? I would say G because it's a fraction and it's a negative. What do you guys think? Should we try that? Okay, so let's do G. Let's do 2G together. So 2G. So for 2G, the equation is y equals negative 1 over 3 x squared plus 2x minus 3. So in this case, the first thing is to make sure this is 1. So you're going to have to factorize the first 2. So minus 1 over 3 is coming out. You pick everything that is here, you take it out. Everything that is here. Positive, negative, fraction, whole number, take everything out. Just like we did here. You see, A was taken out. All right, whatever A is, take it out. Then when you take it out, you have to divide it by B. Because so that when you multiply back, a times x squared is x squared, a times this, we just delete the fraction. Do I have everyone's attention? Is this clear? Okay, when you take A out, you divide by B because you're factorizing just these 2. So that when you multiply back a times x squared and a times this, we only delete the denominator and you have this back. So when you factorize something, you just put it at the denominator of the second one. So why this is just x squared, so this is more or less 2 divided by minus 1 over 3. Do you understand? Just like a x squared b over a. That a is now at the bottom of this. So just like this one. Okay. That might be easier to write. I could have written the final result, but I need you to understand what happens. Okay. So what is 2 divided by 1 over 3? That's minus 6. The calculator can always help you with that. Is that clear? So please don't feel shy to write this step. Just remember, when you factorize A, B will be divided by A. In this case, your B is plus 2, divided by a fraction negative. Okay, let's move on. Now we do the completing the square within the bracket and open the bracket later. Minus 1 over 3. Now I use a square bracket because I'm going to need bracket inside brackets, basically. So I have x squared minus 6x. I'm going to be adding something and subtracting it. So what is that thing I'm going to add? The half of this is what? Half of minus 6 is what? Minus 3. So I'm going to have minus 3 squared added and removing it immediately. because we do not want to change the question. Now this is the end of the stuff in the bracket. So again, the first 3 becomes a perfect square. This first 3 becomes a perfect square. So minus 1 over 3. So this will be x and whatever you have in the bracket, minus 3 all squared. Okay, so again, this is everything here. What follows is minus, and what follows is plus 9. And what follows is the closure of the square bracket. Does it make sense? So if you open the brackets, minus 1 over 3 times this is minus 1 over 3 and that bracket. Minus 1 over 3 times this will be plus 3. Please confirm. Am I right? Then we have minus 3 waiting for us. Uh-oh, we have a 0 there. That's just 0. You may choose to write it or not. Okay, let's see if that makes sense. Open this bracket, you get x squared minus 6x plus 9, right? If you multiply by minus 1 over 3, you get minus 1 over 3 x squared plus 2x minus 3. Yes, that's correct. Can you see that? Aha, so we're right. Haven't made any blunder. Okay, so from here, what does this tell us? It tells us that at the vertex, x is equal to what? Everybody, talk to me. Turn on your mic, please, and respond. At the vertex, x is equal to what?
3.
3. It means you equate this to the 0. I need you to talk, especially those that are not so familiar with this. You need to say something. Okay, so for now, I don't want to hear from Lillian. So at vertex, x minus 3 is equal to 0, which means x is equal to 3. And at the same vertex, y is equal to 0. Okay, so the first question was state the coordinate of the vertex. So now we can state the coordinate of the vertex. It means 3, 0 is the coordinate. The coordinate in question is 3, 0. Everybody get that? Okay. So the next question says find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we put x is equal to 0. So actually, there are numbers in this problem. So making it in that form is number 1. Finding the coordinate of the vertex is number 2. The one we're about to do now is number 3. So at x is equal to 0, we can do it in 2 ways. Is either you put it into the original one and just pick the last one actually. And you see, it's easier that way. I get everybody's attention on that. Aha. Another way is to put it in here. You can also put it in here if you want. Okay, so I'm going to use the original one. Minus 1 over 3 x squared plus 2x minus 3. So that will be minus 1 over 3 times 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 3. So you don't have to waste your time actually. You can just write it directly without showing this work. You can pick it from here when x is equal to 0. Okay, so we already know the y-intercept. So y-intercept is y is equal to 3, or you could say the coordinate at the intercept is when x is 0, y is equal to minus 3. Is the y-intercept. Usually we just write 3. We don't write it in form of coordinates. Okay, so the y-intercept is 3. So I'll get rid of that. So y-intercept is equal to y. Next question is sketch. Good. Now we sketch. So what's the first thing to sketch? Your curve. Now, is this a maximum or minimum curve? Class. No,
Maximum.
Maximum. Why do you say it's maximum, Brandy?
Yeah, maximum because it's negative in the front. I mean,
A is negative.
A is less than 0.
Yeah, because A is less than 0. Karen, is that understood? Where's Karen? Karen, are you picking food?
No, my roller fell. I was picking my roller.
I don't understood. I was just messing with you. All right, so it's maximum. So the first thing we're going to do is draw our parabola in maximum form. Okay, I can make use of that. So we put our vertex. Our vertex is 3, 0. So that's 3, 0. So our equation of line of symmetry, or axis of symmetry, we pass through that. So let's assume that is it. Okay, it's not going to be a smooth curve because it's a sketch. So let's assume that is it. So you can draw a better one. But that's 3, 0. What does that mean? 3, 0. Why is it equal to 0? It means it touches the x-axis, isn't it? Understood, everyone? It means it touches the x-axis. So which means my x-axis will be here. Oh no. Okay, let's just make use of that. So it means it touches the x-axis like that. Let's see, you can draw a better one. Okay, so my y-axis, let's look at the y-intercept. Y-intercept is -3. So if this is 0, if this is 0, what is x here? Let's write the equation. For this one, x is equal to what? Class, x is equal to what?
X equals to 3.
3. So if x is equal to 3 here, it means I'm looking for where my y-axis will be, right? My y-axis is when x is equal to what? Y-axis is when x is equal to what?
-3.
Y-axis, equation of the y-axis.
0.
0. Lillian, I told you not to say anything.
No,
That wasn't me.
it's
No,
me.
what was
That was
it?
Crystal.
Oh, sorry, Crystal. So y-axis is when x is equal to 0. So if this is x is 3, then x is 0 is behind it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so x is 0 must be behind this on the left. That's what I mean. Something like that. Okay, so here. So this looks like a sketch, a nice sketch. So this is our x-axis. So this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis. So we're going to show the intercept now. The intercept is -3. So we're going to show this point. Okay, so this point is, what is it again? 3, 0. And that's all about the sketch. Just know that this is a broken line. Okay, you know what I mean by broken line, like that? Because I don't have that on this Zoom whiteboard, that's why I'm using a green line. Okay, so please, it's a broken line. Always make sure you show that it's a broken line. So that's how to sketch with completing the square. So find the square and just follow with this. The last we will do when we come next time, because there is no time now. I believe you have a lesson. When is the next lesson? Hello? Can we ask you something, please? When is our next lesson?
Business, I don't know if we have today. I think that's all my classes for today.
Business, and what time is that?
I don't know if it's going to happen, but it should be at 3:30.
Oh, okay. In that case, can I quickly do the last one? Maybe we could spend 15 minutes extra, something. Is it okay by everyone? If we have a class, say something. Nakita is smiling. You have a
I
coffee?
have a class at 2.
Clarissa is saying something.
I have a class at 2.
You have a class at 2. Is that Clarissa?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can I stop at 1:30?
Okay.
Okay. So let's take it to 1:30. Okay. Nakita, you have some coffee hangout with your books. All right. So how about I ask you to do something now in class while we, check what we have done so far. So everyone, I'm going to share the book with you again. And I need you to, maybe I share my screen first to make it faster. Okay, can you see my screen? So everyone, can you do question F? F. Everyone quickly, question F. I'll send it to WeChat now, then I can share my screen, the board again. So I'm going back to the board so we can make use of that as a guide. When you're done, say something, please. And maybe just send to me on WeChat when you're done. This is all we will do for the rest of the class. Question F, I could add another question if you want. When you're done, please say something and send to me on WeChat. Does anyone still need the board? Or I just leave it. I'll just leave it on the screen. How's it going? No questions, right? We just need more time. Okay, good. More time and more practice, definitely. Oops. Sorry, Crystal C, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so it would be nice if you could work with fraction rather than decimals. Because sometimes you might be having a fraction that, you might be having a decimal that is not terminating, okay? So you want to be careful with approximation. So fraction is okay. So you could have, you could leave that as 5/4 or -5/4, okay? That's better. Other than that, everything looks good. Everything, well done. Okay. I got small, Lillian. Very good. Very good, Lillian. Ethan, I'm looking at yours now. Yeah, same goes to you, Mr. Cheng. Fractions, please. Work with fractions. Okay.
No, I used fractions in the beginning, but then the only reason I changed it to a decimal was so it was easier for me to plot later on.
I see. That could be in your, like the way you think in your mind, but when you write on the paper, just stick to the fraction.
Okay.
But everything looks good. Well done. Just label your axis also. It would be nice to have the axis labeled. This is good. So others, please take some extra time to complete your work. I'm done with today's class, so I have no excuse not to send work to practice. So I'll be working on it immediately, and I'll send to you immediately. Is that my WeChat? Because nothing is coming in. Okay, got it. That's Mr. B. Mr. B, let's see, it seems you have some minor errors here. Okay, your first mistake was your -2 brackets. Brandy, can you hear me? Say something, please.
Yeah,
Okay, your first mistake was x squared minus 5 over -2. That should have been changed immediately to plus 5 over 2. Okay, from your second line. So when you change
okay.
that, then you'll be having plus 5 over 4, plus 5 over 4. So in the bracket, it wouldn't be minus because that's minus over -4. And you shouldn't write minus over minus all the time. So from your second line, after you factorize, the next line, just like we did on the board, if you come with me to the board, please, look at this. From here, after this, immediately we changed it. We were not carrying over plus minus plus minus. So you should have changed it immediately, and that will save you a lot of stress here. So that's one part. The other part, if you look at your line, I count the equation as the first line. So line 2, 3, 4. In your line 4, before you close the square bracket, that's not supposed to be minus 5 over 4. That should have been minus 25 over 16. So please work everything again from the beginning. I got one more, so I'll check this as the last. Krista K. Very good. Then Krista K, no decimals, please. Fractions, no decimals. Okay? And you don't have to have your, Krista K, can you say something, please?
Yes.
You don't have to have your number line on y-axis numbered 9, 10, 8. You don't have to, it's like you're actually trying to sketch to scale. No, it's a sketch. Did you remember how I did it on the board? You just draw, just line, it's a sketch, okay? So don't waste your time doing all this, okay? All right, but everything looks good. Then avoid decimals, fractions only, please. And you can leave it as improper fraction. That's allowed, okay? So guys, this is where we stop. So I promise I'll post questions in the next few hours. I'll start working on which selected questions I want to give you. I can combine from the previous one. I will send with the examples. I can combine with the previous one as well, up to date. Like, I mean, what you didn't do the last time. Then you can take today and tomorrow to sort them and send back to me. Okay? Is that okay, everyone? All right. So I will see you all on Wednesday. Let's see what time I booked for you for Wednesday before we go quickly. Then we can discuss that on the WeChat. Where's the school email? Sorry if you're sending me a message now. I am not checking it now, but I promise I will reply you. I can send you a voice note. Okay, I will reply you. Let's see. That's from Mr. Long. Class schedule, class schedule, class schedule. Zoom class, yes, for this one. Okay, for Wednesday, April 1st, I couldn't find a slot for us because the time was messed up with. So we're gonna have to, maybe in the group, you guys can send me when you are chanced, then we can agree on a particular time on Wednesday. Okay, so there's no fixed time for the score. And if possible, because it's now outside the school schedule, if possible, if you guys don't have so much to do, we can spend 90 minutes, 2 hours just for that Wednesday, if you don't have so much to do, so that we can practice online, because practicing online takes time, okay? If you can't do that, 60 minutes is fine, 70, 90, whatever extra time you do, okay? So Wednesday, let's talk on the group later and agree on the time. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.